guys. We have a big update to update you on.
Exciting freaking news.
Very exciting. Should we tell them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
We're moving to Florida.
Wow, we did that really well.
And we didn't even practice that.
Wow.
She's trying to talk me into moving back to my hometown.
I'm not gonna lie, these houses here, there's boats. It's a great life.
It is not bad.
First open house today. Okay, he's here.
Okay, I have the best news for you guys. You guys got an offer.
We have a big life-changing thing right now.
We love Hawaii. We'll get into all that, but yeah, we are, as far as we know it right now, we are packing up and moving halfway across the world.
Yeah, so
back to Florida.
I know this seems random, spontaneous, and just kind of like out of the blue, and it's really because it is.
That's our whole life.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about things too much, to be dead honest.
I do. So the fact, like, we're a great...
And you're marrying me.
I know, we're a great blend. Anyways, okay, so a little update. Let's kind of share how this all happened. So beginning of the year, January went great. February, we decided to book a trip to Disney World and go visit his family in Florida. So we went to Disney World and then went down to his hometown of Vero Beach. And
so I hadn't been home in years.
It's been about 4 years since we
I grew up in Vero Beach, Florida from 13 to 19.
Okay.
Awesome childhood, but I left. I went to California to LA. So anyway, we go back, my mom and grandma are still there, and we're driving around, and like all that's going through my head is like, oh, this place is actually prettier than I remember. And then out of nowhere, Angelique says, like, why did you leave here? And I'm like,
why'd you leave? This is beautiful.
I'm
It
like,
looked like
what?
Santa Barbara in Florida. It was stunning.
I'm like, what did you say? She's like, I like it. I think I could live here. And I was like,
I could do this.
what? Vero? Really? Vero?
And then we were driving around the town. He was showing me like all the cute little neighborhoods.
I was giving her the tour, the lay of the land.
And we called his friend, or he called his friend Theo, and said, Theo, hey.
One of my best friends from high school.
Yeah, he's like, does your dad still live in this neighborhood? He goes, I don't know what he said. Yes, no, whatever. He said, but why don't you guys come over and hang out with us? We're playing bocce ball. And Sawyer said, well, don't you work? And he goes, it's Sunday and I work at a bank. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was my first like realization that this is a real small town. Like,
A normal place.
This isn't LA, this isn't Hawaii, this is like people have normal jobs in a normal little small town.
I also didn't know what bocce ball was.
Wait, really?
Yeah, no, I'd never played bocce ball, and I'm not used to drinking in the middle of the afternoon.
So we went over to his friend's house and hung out with them, and like all the dads were pushing the strollers, and the wives were making like charcuterie boards and drinking prosecco, and I was like, wait, I really like this. Like I literally had a moment where I was like, this is what I want out of life. And I think Sawyer saw that on my face.
Yeah,
Did you not?
yeah, no, I definitely
Was it
did.
like, were you just sitting there panicking?
Yeah, I was definitely panicking, because I was like, I wasn't necessarily sure I wanted to move back to my hometown. It's like in my mind I had left it there. And what was cool to me was to go back. All my friends from high school now, like, moved back. They have kids that are like 6 months to 2 years. So they're all starting the chapter that I'm deathly afraid of. And the coolest part was I didn't realize that like a lot of my friends from high school actually all moved back to the exact same neighborhood.
Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yeah, they like bought up this whole neighborhood, and they literally drive golf carts to each other's houses, and they drink beer and play bocce ball.
Mind you,
go to the parks on the weekend.
This little street has like oak covered like streets,
pretty,
and it literally
it
looks like to give you a visual, and how I keep explaining it to people to like give them the vibe is like hocus pocus when the kids are trick-or-treating in that little neighborhood, and it literally feels like
it feels like it's like 30 I was gonna say it feels like it's like 20-30 years ago. And
so anyways, that moment right there is kind of what I literally went home to his mom's house and I was like, Karen, I want to move to Vero. And she's like, what? she was flabbergasted. She was shocked. She also, I think it's like, she's like, honey, you don't want to move to Vero, but then secretly she's like, I will do anything to have my baby boy move home to here. Which she has proven. She has helped us a ton through this process. So that's kind of how this came about. That's kind of like what solidified. Sorry, dogs. Our dogs barking. They're like, what'd you say? We're moving? Yeah, we're moving, boys. Sorry. So that was kind of like how it came about. That was like the day that really changed my perspective. And I don't know, I've always wanted that life for like myself and my kids. And being here in Hawaii, and we'll get into this part of it a lot later, and especially more. He wants to do a whole video kind of on like,
pros and cons
of Hawaii.
Anyone thinking about moving here, like unbiased people who've lived here 3 years. You know, and what we love about it and why we're leaving.
We absolutely love this place, but for me, for raising kids, I would love if they could like ride their bikes in a neighborhood full of kids, and like there's a park in the neighborhood.
There's a private school at the end of the street. We can walk kids to school.
His friend was like, oh, and just a little perk. You know, there's a private school right at the end, and like
tuition's $5,000. I'm like, what? That's it? Oh my God.
So private school that you can walk to in a cute neighborhood that you live in. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like music to my ears. So that's how that came about.
Also, I want to say that for me, I think it was cool because like moving to LA and like being successful at the jobs I've done and stuff, a lot of people I meet, obviously I'm a different person now, but like a lot of people I meet are very like, yeah, I love what you're doing. I'd love to help out. Yes, yes, yes. Is that fireworks? Anyway, to go home and be surrounded by your high school friends who do not give a shit about what you've done and call you on your crap 100%. It felt really good. It was like a breath of fresh air.
I saw a side of Sawyer that I hadn't seen. It was just like relaxed and calm, and there's a party going on over there. But it was really nice to see. Like I could tell he was comfortable, and it just felt like a different dream life.
You feel like the you who is younger.
So that's kind of how this came about. Now the next step was actually finding a house, which we have to think
took all of 12 hours.
It took, once we told his friend Theo that we were like, we're doing this, Theo was on the hunt.
He did not stop sending us houses until we found the one we liked.
Left and right. And there was one in that same neighborhood that Theo was like, this one's great, it's already done.
It goes on the market tomorrow.
And we're like, can you get us an appointment? And he was friends with the person listing it or whatever.
Knew someone who knows someone, as everyone does in that town.
It's a small town. So we were the first people to see it the day that it got listed. And we went back the second day. Well, we fell in love with it. The yard was absolutely gorgeous. The house is redone. Actually very similar.
Yeah, it looks a lot like this house here, just twice the size.
It was bigger. It was a bigger lot.
Yeah, the yard is like 7 times as big.
It's actually 0.7 acres, and we were like, oh my gosh. We just like, the fact we could have a yard and a garage and attic space for storage.
It's crazy.
And more space, like a laundry room inside. Little things.
It cost half the price of this house.
Yeah.
Which is just, whoopee, exactly.
Yeah. Perfect timing on that one. So we absolutely fell in love with the house. So we went back the second day and we put in an offer.
Which didn't get accepted, actually.
No, she called us the next day and said she actually accepted somebody else's offer. It happened to be an all-cash offer, which anyone buying a home in the last couple months knows how that goes. Like, there's all-cash offers right now like crazy. So
we were the backup offer.
We were the backup offer, and Sawyer kept telling me, like, don't get your hopes up. And I was like, but
secretly, my hopes were up.
My hopes were up, too.
That's why I was telling everyone
I was trying to, like, manage my expectations, but I was just so freaking excited. And I had this feeling. I was like, this just feels too, like, what is that?
Serendipitous.
Yeah. Serendipity.
That's the movie.
Serendipitous. That I was like, I just had this feeling. So literally within 24 hours 48 hours.
Getting home.
Actually, we got home on a Monday, and it was on a Wednesday morning, I remember specifically. He came in and he held my hands and he goes, so I don't want you to get your hopes up. And I'm like, oh no, what happened? And he was like,
first buyer backed out. They're accepting our offer.
And I literally cried, and he was like, oh, and he knew in that moment that this is exactly what I wanted.
Now, there's a caveat and a little bit of possible drama coming up in our life, because us buying that house is contingent on us selling this house.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a nightmare. So for the last 3 weeks, we have been trying to sell this house. You can tell them.
So now we've decided to move. We found a house. Now we have to sell this house. And actually, the weird part was, when we were the backup offer, we had to proceed as if we were the first offer, because it was part of our agreement with the seller of the house in Florida. So we've already listed our home at this point. We put it up on the MLS, and then we finally we became the first offer. And it took about 3 weeks, people. 3 weeks of open houses and showings, and we literally got so nervous towards the end of the 3rd week that it wasn't gonna happen. We're like, oh no, this is the last piece of the puzzle. We already figured out shipping the pod, we already figured out shipping the truck, packing everything, all the little details. The last piece of the puzzle was selling this house.
It took so long in this market because I priced it high. I tried to like see what I could get for it.
Of course,
then
why not?
it like seemed like people were saying, oh, it's too expensive. So we lowered the price $100,000 to a really fair price. And that same day, the nicest couple in the world snagged it. They'd been looking for a house for like months.
You actually took him around.
Yeah, and everyone else had fallen. The other houses had gone to all cash buyers. And they reminded me of Angelique and I, to be honest. And like we accepted their offer, and now we're under contract with them.
They were so nice. They're excited about like our rose bushes and the garden.
I'm really happy for them. This is gonna be a great home for them and their family.
As soon as I got home, Sawyer was like, I want the home to go to them.
Yeah, I really did.
And I was like, all right. So yeah, we accepted their offer, and now we are like well on our way.
So there's a couple possible holes. Yeah. So if they back out at any point, we actually might lose the house in Florida. So our fingers are crossed.
We're kind of like everything's contingent on something else.
It's still, don't get your hopes up. Like one day at a time. Like it's meant to be, as people tell me, which I hate that.
I hate that so bad.
I hate that saying.
So we're still moving forward, and again, all the pieces are falling into place, but at any moment there's so many things, like, as anyone knows, that when they're buying a home, that it's like,
yeah, it's chaos for a few months.
Yeah. So you are now caught up. That is the how, the what, the why, and where we are at.
What are the 3 things you're most excited about for Florida?
I'm excited to start fresh in a new home and redecorate, because this is my first attempt at decorating, and so this is like a clean slate with so much more going into it with so much more knowledge. So I'm really excited for like my creativity on that and kind of expand on what I've learned and like create another home for us. I'm excited to start a family, because with this move we're actually setting ourselves up for more success sooner than later, and we can actually start that chapter when we want rather than waiting till we're able to. And Disney World.
Yeah. We're an hour away from Disney World.
Yeah. So I'm excited to be closer to a few other things and kind of see that side of the U.S. because I grew up on the east side and we always came to Hawaii, so on the west coast. I'm from Utah. So I grew up going to Hawaii.
Things are still
California.
pretty far away there.
Yeah, but like Bahamas and all that. I've never done any of that.
You go to Miami, Bahamas, Orlando, you got Universal, you got Disney World, you got...
Even the South, I want to see the Carolinas. Like, I've never
Georgia,
done any of that.
go see my dad.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited for...
Busch Gardens, Six Flags. I'm a huge amusement park guy, so I'm pretty stoked.
And don't get us wrong, like, Hawaii has been a dream of ours, and this dream has been an absolute,
awesome.
like, literally a dream, and it was a goal of ours for so long. But I kind of just feel like we have a new dream and a new exciting adventure, and we'll still always come to Hawaii. We freaking love it here.
I would stay here. Honestly, the big part of it is, like, Hawaii's about as expensive as Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And the idea of having to work here, make enough money to pay to live here, have kids, and juggle that with no support of family and sending them to private school, it's a lot. It's a lot. And like moving to Florida, like I think the cool thing about where we're moving is like the neighborhoods are exactly like they were when I was a kid. Like kids just ride bikes to everyone's house, and like it's just kind of normal life.
Yeah.
It's like it's really nice. I'm excited for it, even for me.
I'm excited because it'll give us the opportunity to kind of give the childhood that we've always dreamed of to our kids, like fishing and boating and going to amusement parks and just like little things like that I would love to be able to give our kids to, and being there gives us more of an opportunity to do so.
I'm giving myself 2 years. I'm going to try to get a small boat to go fishing every weekend.
Yeah. What are your 3 favorite things, or what are you most excited about?
I think I'm most excited about having real friends.
Yeah.
I got good friends here, but I mean like you never have friends like you had from childhood.
I can see it.
Having childhood friends who just
I've already met some of
give
them
me shit and like won't let me get away with anything and tell me how it is. It's really refreshing.
They're really sweet humans. I'm excited for that.
Having my mom and grandma in the same town.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy with my grandma every night when we were there, and it's just special. Family is just special.
That was a lot of fun. Dog loved it.
And then also, you know, like I still got the beach right there, and now I also have the river and Disney World. So I guess I'll just bundle all that into activities.
Like I'll get to see your dad's house.
So like friends, family, and activities.
Yeah.
And not to mention the house is so much bigger, and my payment, like my overhead of, you know, mortgages and stuff like that gets cut so low that I might actually get to start enjoying life a little. Bring my blood pressure from like here to like, yay, here would be fine. Here's even better.
There's definitely like an emotional like side of it for me, like wanting to be a mom and like that chapter, but there's also the analytical and financial side of it that we've discussed a lot about, and again, like you said, it'll lower it so we can actually enjoy life a little more.
It'll be easier.
A little normal.
It'll be easier.
Normal. And I know a lot of you guys will have a lot of questions because we've kind of been hinting at it on our Instagram, and you guys have already been sending in like, wait, what, where, why, how? So if you
Leave
haven't,
them in the comments.
yeah, we're gonna probably do some Q&As, and we're gonna be documenting the whole move again. Like I know you guys loved it when I documented the move to Hawaii, so I'm gonna do the same exact thing and take
I'm even gonna start vlogging.
Yeah. Oh, and he has a whole nother like announcement and update video on his, which has a few other different topics in it.
Health stuff and dog stuff.
Some dogs and health things in his. So a lot of stuff coming your way.
Life's an adventure, man. You gotta live it like one.
So be sure to leave your questions down below, and be sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on any of the vlogs. But also, just so you guys know where we're at in the process, like we are moving right along. We just have our inspection and appraisal next week.
And then we start packing the next week.
And then we start packing. So we're serious. This is happening.
Yeah.
And we're excited to share this another moving journey with you guys. So that is it. That is our update.
Wish us luck.
Our
Fingers
announcement.
crossed.
And we love you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. We're moving to Florida.